welcome to the Chamber of Medford and Jackson County's virtual forum. Today's program is sponsored by the City of Medford and brought to you by the season sponsor, the Cow Creek Tribe. My name is Tim D'Alessandro. I'm the president of the Medford City Council, and I will be emceeing today's program. Welcome. With me up here, we have the City of Medford Mayor, Randy Sparacino, Medford City Manager, Brian Sjothun, and the new President and CEO of the Chamber, Eli Matthews, who will be closing our program today. Thank you all for being here. I'd like to thank all the forum sponsors who put us on these programs. We are excited and hopeful to move these programs back to the Country Club in October, beginning of next forum season. Thank you all for your support throughout the year. It's been a tough one for sure. The Chamber was forced to adapt, and you all came along with us, and for that we are truly grateful. And having witnessed a lot of that adaptation of our local businesses, kudos to all of you who were able to weather the storm, and we look forward to seeing you all in person again soon. Pardon me. Just as we do for every forum, I'd like to remind you how today's program will work. It's likely most of you already know this information. For those of you that are new, I'd like to explain a few things. As you've noticed, you're not on the screen and do not have video or microphone capabilities. You are simply an attendee. There's a Q&A feature in this webinar. Please find at the bottom of your screen an icon with a Q&A on it, and you will be able to type your questions for our speakers there. Please feel free to type in your questions as they come up during the presentation, but know we will be answering them at the end of the program during the Q&A session. And now to introduce today's keynote speakers. Mayor Randy Sparacino, a longtime resident of Medford and previous time as Chief of Police, was elected to serve the City of Medford in 2021. During his time as Chief of Police, Mayor Sparacino successfully strengthened the community and police relations, refocused leadership efforts, and implemented a new ethics training program in the department. Mayor Sparacino holds a bachelor's degree of science and in social science and a master's degree in management from Southern Oregon University. Brian Sjothun, the city manager, was selected on September 1st, 2016. Brian's been with the city since March of 2004, previously serving as the Parks and Recreation Director. Prior to coming to the City of Medford, Brian spent 16 years with the Woodburn Parks and Recreation Department. Gentlemen, I now pass the mic over to you for today's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Good afternoon, everybody. As Tim introduced, I'm Randy Sparacino, the Mayor of the City of Medford, and welcome to our 2021 State of the City. Over the past year, we have strived to prioritize the health and well-being of our residents and employees. This past year has been a year like no other. Throughout it, our city has come together with our community, and we supported each other and created an adaptive way over the past year to address the pandemic and the fires. Today, I am happy to see our community reopen and to have our opportunity to get back to business. Despite the challenges our community has faced over the past year, the City Council and city staff have been hard at work. This last month, we approved the 2021-23 biennial budget, as well as council goals. The City Council meets biannually to revisit their guiding principles and to set their priorities for the upcoming biennium. These identified priorities are the roadmap that helps guide our annual funding plans and will be prioritized with staffing and financial resources in the years to come. Council approved 6 priority areas, which include city center revitalization, community engagement, economic development, health and safety, housing strategies, and public infrastructure. Each of these priorities has associated goals, strategies, tactics, and performance measures. And later on in this presentation, City Manager Brian Sjothun will discuss each one of these in more detail. As mayor, one thing I've learned is that most citizens do not fully know what the role is as the mayor sits within the City of Medford. The charter really grants limited authority to the mayor. As mayor, I do not vote on ordinances or resolutions. I'm more of the presiding officer for council meetings, and I see myself as a conduit to the citizens. I don't represent a single ward. I represent the entire city as a collective. What I can do as mayor is provide effective leadership and engagement. I see myself as the conduit for that engagement and being the voice of the entire city. I feel that I can use my position as this conduit to assist the city council with their goals. What really brought this home to me was during the pandemic. As some of you probably have done during the pandemic, you were babysitter or school instructor or school teacher during the Zoom school meetings. And on Wednesdays, we had my granddaughter, Addie, for Zoom school. And one day, my granddaughter was witnessing me doing what I do as the mayor. And she said, you know what being mayor is? It's being on the phone a lot. And that's what I see as my role, is to be that conduit and to be engaged with the citizens and relay that information to council and city management. While the city is still working to recover, Medford has seen many important projects continue to move forward. The implementation of the Homeless System Action Plan continues, and council has prioritized funding for associated action items. Relief funding provided critical community support to our local small businesses impacted by COVID. And we continue to offer support and resources to our neighboring communities impacted by the Alameda fire. As mayor, I recognize that increasing efficiencies of responsible development is an important way to recover. I believe we have excellent folks working at the city, and we should always strive to do our best. That being said, I commissioned an ad hoc committee to review the development process. My desire is to see Medford be the best place to live, work, and play. As former police chief and longtime resident of Medford, I want nothing more than to see our community flourish despite the challenges we have and will continue to face. As Brian takes you through some of the current city and future initiatives, I hope you can see that our future is bright for our growing community, and I invite you all to be part of that process. Thank you, Mr. Sjothun.
Thank you, Mayor and Councilor Sandra, for being here today. And I can tell you one of our almost immediate initiatives is to get the air conditioning fixed here at City Hall. And it is a very ripe 79 degrees right now and rising. And we are on the 3rd floor, and heat does rise. So it's my pleasure to be here today. It's my pleasure to serve as city manager for the city of Medford. I have had a great opportunity to do that beginning, as the mayor pointed out, back in 2016, and so blessed that the council has renewed my contract to another 4 years to June of 2025. Yes, 2025. But at that time, it'll probably be time for someone else to take on this role. Before I go through the PowerPoint presentation, I just want to get a shout out to Christina Wilson, who is home, our marketing and communications manager. KJ is the one that put together this PowerPoint presentation and also coordinated the video. I know you're watching, KJ, even though you're home on maternity leave, because you can't stay well enough away. But congratulations to you and Henry, and hopefully you're enjoying your time with your new baby, Ainsley. So with that, I'm going to go over a little bit about what the mayor and Councilor D'Alessandro said about what's happening in the city. So as we all know, COVID, the city of Medford was heavily involved in being able to provide business assistant grants in an amount that's $500,000 that helped a little over 130 Medford businesses during that time. We also had to learn how to do things remotely. I believe a remote and virtual workforce is here to stay. A portion of our staff are going to be working remotely, not all the time, but for periods of 1 to 2 days a week, which will basically help us as we grow as an organization, as a city, to reduce our footprint of needing additional facilities. We also had to reprioritize our community commitments. Development did not slow down during the pandemic. In fact, it kind of increased, and we were able to adapt and keep our development services open and accessible to those in the public. Also, our development services team has done a great job of being able to, I'd say, assist businesses and allowing for parklets so restaurants can serve onto the sidewalks and on streets and the parking spaces. That is going to continue. Our planning department is working on a permanent code change for future council consideration that will allow for such dining to continue. Now, the Road Credit Union Community Complex, and there are just a great number of folks that need to be thanked, and we will do that periodically as there is a groundbreaking scheduled for September out at the facility site. And we'll have several opportunities to thank everyone that's been involved. But my special thanks to Road Credit Union, Gene Pellin, Matt Stevens, and Jeannie Pickens, and all of the staff at Road Credit Union for understanding the importance and the need for a facility like this. Their naming rights, and when the facility is up and running in August 2023, a portion of that naming rights will go to be able to, for us to be able to provide free swim lessons for fourth graders inside the city of Medford. It is a very, very impactful program that can somehow, someday teach children how to save their lives or someone else's lives. So it's not just an investment into the operations of the facility, it's an investment into our community. I also want to thank Travel Medford and also the Southern Oregon Sports Commission. Without your help, we would not have been able to pass, or the city be able to pass, the two measures that were on the ballot in May of 2020. One of them was to increase the hotel motel tax from 9 to 11%. And the other one was a wording change in order for us to be able to collect from Airbnbs and those types of travel intermediaries. I said that wrong. Eli can correct me on what that is. But again, this is going to be a big boom to our economy when it's up and running in 2023. As you can see on the screen, is a very large 160,000 square foot event center featuring indoor pools, recreational and competitive basketball courts, and multi-purpose facility. This is an outside rendering of the facility. There is artwork in front of it. That's not necessarily the artwork that's going to be there. So I don't want to get a lot of emails about that artwork being ugly. Again, art is in the eye of the beholder. But this is an outside view. And you see on the right is where the aquatic side, the left is the event center side. Here's an indoor view of the event center. Interior spaces, as you can see, that's 8 basketball courts or 16 volleyball courts. I have no idea how many pickleball courts that will transition to. Pickleball is the fastest growing sport in America. I guess that's because all we hear from is pickleball players. But this is just a rendering of what the inside of the facility will be. As you see, there are curtains up above. We'll be able to separate each court. So each court will have its own set of playing conditions that make it feel like that's the only court inside the facility. Here's a view of the recreational pool. We don't have a picture of the competitive side of the facility, but this is the recreational pool. And then there's also be a splash pad on the outside of that facility. So livability in Medford, and this is a hot topic. People are always talking to us about, what are you doing about homelessness? What are you doing about garbage? What are you doing about everything that comes in front of us? So with that, we're going to go ahead and play a video of our homeless system action plan.
The Homeless System Action Plan really is a strategic roadmap for the city and its partners.
The council has approved several buckets of funding for the Homeless System Action Plan through the Community Development Block Grant Program and also our general fund grants. The council prioritized homelessness and serving those that need as part of that funding.
First and foremost, we are helping to increase the development of permanent housing, affordable housing, and permanent supportive housing. We're addressing our unsheltered homeless encampments along the Greenway and throughout the city. And then, of course, implementing strategies and funding tools that will help with diversion strategies to help prevent homelessness. The Homeless System Action Plan is so important to the city of Medford because it helps define our role on what we should be doing in the community to help address this issue.
The city's role is leveraging the funds that we have along with the nonprofit partners to be able to provide services for those that are seeking help.
A few of the biggest accomplishments of the Homeless System Action Plan really have been looking for flexible funding sources and bringing those to the community. A good example of that is our new construction excise tax, which is a tax on improvements to properties. And that brought in $400,000 during the first year. And we were able to finish the Hearts with a Mission youth shelter and also help Columbia Care develop 16 units of permanent affordable housing for our veterans. In the next year, the city is going to be working very closely with our community partners to help create a navigation center with the $2.5 million that the city has been granted from the state of Oregon. And a navigation center is going to provide our unhoused community members with low barrier 24/7 shelter. And another area of focus will be expanding the urban campground. The urban campground is another low barrier option for unhoused community members that might not be ready for a navigation center environment.
Our council being able to address some of the issues for folks that need a hand up rather than a hand out is very important to link those individuals to the services they need in order to end their cycle of homelessness.
We're working very closely with the key partners, such as the Continuum of Care, Access, Rogue Retreat, Maslow, our housing authority, the La Clinica, our coordinated care organizations. It just goes on and on. Everybody's coming to the table before we implement these actions, and we're talking to them first before we go out and do things. We're experiencing this tipping point right now, and from a lot of work and a lot of commitment, but we're going to feel the benefits of the Homeless System Action Plan for years to come.
All right, well, I want to thank Angela Durant, who was in that video. Angela is our lead staff person that works with many of our nonprofit partners and our other elected, state, locally elected officials in implementing the Homeless System Action Plan. Before I go into the slide, I also want to recognize those nonprofits that we do work with. I know I'm not going to mention all of them, but these are the ones that really we do a lot of work with in trying to address these issues. Columbia Care, Access, Rogue Retreat, the Addictions Recovery Center, Maslow Project, and St. Vincent de Paul. Again, that's just a handful of those nonprofits that we partner with in order to try and help individuals that are trying to end their cycle of homelessness. As this slide points out, we have spent over the last couple of years or earmarked nearly $7.58 million in funding, and the Navigation Center is in that, and that's part of that, a place to go. We also assisted Rogue Retreat with Project Turnkey, which was the acquisition of a hotel, which now has permanent supportive housing. We also assisted, as Angela pointed out, with 16 new units for veterans housing. And we also are working with other nonprofits in developing transitional housing, and also our livability team helps with the chronically homeless outreach partnership. In regards to planning efforts, it's financial support for our Continuum of Care manager. And I want to thank Jackson County, Central Point, Ashland, Phoenix, and Talent for partnering to provide financial assistance in order for us to fund the manager position for the Continuum of Care. And also, again, just want to mention the Navigation Center. This is $2.5 million coming to us from the legislature. We're one of 5 communities in the state. And what the Navigation Center is, will be a place for those to be referred to that will be a temporary place for individuals to stay. They will get a full medical and mental health assessment as part of the services being provided, and then move them from that facility to one of the spots, whether it's an urban campground, it's a tiny village, tiny house village, or one of the supportive programs, housing programs that are locally. So we hope to have that. Well, we have to have that up and operational by July 1st of next year. On the prevention side, the city provided funding during COVID for rental assistance, not only for rental assistance, but also for utility payments as well. And we provided that through a couple of different nonprofits, including motel vouchers for those individuals that were experiencing homelessness. On our outreach, again, I want to emphasize our livability team in the encampment cleanup. So these stats that you're seeing on your screen right here are old. They're probably about 3 weeks old. There have been more than 38 camps that have been cleaned over the last few months. And basically, when the council passed the prohibited camping ordinance, that enforcement started on May 3rd. So there was some assumptions that us as an organization with our partners were just going to go and through the entire Bear Creek Greenway and clean up camps at once. That isn't what took place. Our livability team took the time to identify camps, post the notice, and then work with those residents inside those camps for over 72 hours to try and link them to services. There were places in the urban campground, Kelly Shelter, and also at Hope Village. When our livability team went in to clean the camps after the 72-hour notice, they didn't find many folks living there anymore. They either moved on to other accommodations or took us up on our offer to move them to those facilities. This is going to take time. It's going to take a lot of time for us to be able to clean up the Greenway, and again with our partners. What a lot of folks don't realize is that the Oregon Department of Transportation, which meant much of this property is their jurisdiction, had basically a stand down order to not remove campers from that property. So as that stand down order and as folks are now moving off those properties, a great appreciation to ODOT and their staff for assisting and helping us be able to move those folks off of the Greenway. It is a fire hazard. That is the reason why the council passed this ordinance. Wasn't to displace folks that are homeless, but to address the extreme fire hazard that is the Bear Creek Greenway. Cedar Links Park. We celebrated opening Cedar Links Park in May. This is Medford's 25th neighborhood park. And through our community visioning process, which I'm going to mention here in a few minutes, our residents love their parks. So this was a lot of fun to be able to open this park up, and we have additional plans for development throughout the city of Medford. The Medford 2040 Community Visioning Plan. This is basically what do we want Medford to be when we eventually grow up someday. This process is community driven, and I really want to thank the task force that is working on this. Our next task force meeting is tomorrow. Specifically our chair, Daniel Bunn, and our vice chair, Christina Kruger, for leading the conversation. This is what you see up on the screen is the vision statement that was developed by the task force and approved by the city council. This vision statement was a process of going through several community surveys. We received over 800 responses to this vision statement, and this is the end product that you see before us. Our public engagement process is designed to be inclusive as possible, reaching out to all communities and interests in the broader Medford area. These are the focus areas for the Medford 2040 plan: fostering economic growth and resiliency, enhancing hometown, connecting community, fostering safety and wellness, and promoting recreation opportunities. These are pretty much in line with what the council goals. The mayor provided you with some information previously. This information came to the council prior to them developing their council goals. And so we're able to link not only our biennial goals, but to the 2040 plan, but we're also able to link those goals to already approved plans and performance measures that each department has. So what's coming up? As the mayor mentioned, the 6 categories or buckets that we like to call them, focus areas for the biennium. There's 26 strategies throughout all 6 of these areas, and I'm just going to quickly touch on a few of them. Downtown development, economic incentives for development, create social connections through festival and events, a livability team and homeless system action plan to continue their efforts. We're going to be looking at a public safety level of service. As Medford grows, so does the demand upon our public safety departments, both police and fire. We're going to be studying the level of safety and what is desired. Emergency management. We have an excellent emergency manager coordinating with Jackson County and is really to the forefront of our organization, even prior to the Alameda and Overchain fires, but it has a new, I'd say, heightened awareness. And so we are working diligently and making sure that we are ready to help respond if needed. Increase housing opportunities, and that's in all segments, whether that is affordable workforce housing or if it's just housing in general. Medford is not unique. This is happening all over the West Coast as far as the housing crunch. And so we are going to be working diligently with those property owners and developers who have their properties incorporated through our urban growth boundary over the last 18 months and help assist in trying to move those developments forward. Implementation of major public works projects, the build grant or the mega corridor, as we like to call it, which is North Phoenix and Foothill Roads. We're going to see construction starting probably in the fall of 2022 with that project. And then we're going to be reviewing funding sources for both public works and park projects. All of this really needs to get done in the first 18 to 19 months of the biennium as we start a new budget process and we have potentially a new council every 2 years. So that's what we have on top for the city of Medford moving forward immediately and in the next 2 years. And we're happy, or I should say the mayor and Tim D'Alessandro, Councilor D'Alessandro, are happy to answer your questions. I am going to stand over to the side here and tell them they're right when they answer the question, because they usually are right. So with that, thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Brian.
All right, so our first question is, fire on the Greenway is a huge concern. Other than removing vegetation, how are you educating those that might accidentally start a fire?
Well, I know the fire department's been active both on their Facebook page and getting the word out to community what dangers that we're encountering and areas that people need to pay attention to. Our fire chief has really done a good job in ensuring that those communications are out there. The vegetation removal is probably the key piece to reducing the fuel loads, but Mayor, do you have anything to add on?
Sure. And additionally, with the livability team doing their activities on the Greenway, they're removing potential fire hazards as they go through encampments along the Greenway as well.
Well, we saw another question pop up.
What is the most rewarding part of being mayor so far?
Well, I saw that was from Peter, one of my my mentors and also a former colleague of mine when I was on the RCC board. The most rewarding thing is actually being able to make a difference. I'm really enjoying being involved in that engagement, like I spoke about during the beginning of my comments. I just enjoy trying to see Medford be the best place that it can possibly be, and being engaged with citizens that have great ideas is really exciting.
Okay, anybody else have any questions? That's all we have in our queue. All righty, so then I will turn this over to Eli Matthews, the new President and CEO of the Chamber. Eli, take it away.
All right. Hey, foremost, big thanks to the city of Medford for your presentation today. It's really great to see all the items that are in motion, and the Chamber does recognize all the great accomplishments this last year, but even more so all the great things that are in plan, just to really ensure that our community is moving forward. And I know we hear it a lot around here that Medford has a lot of great momentum. So thank you to Mayor Sparacino, Councilman D'Alessandro, and Brian Sjothun for your presentation today, and really for your leadership for the city of Medford. I think that Medford, really a lot of our community success is really in the partnerships and in the collaboration. So on behalf of the Chamber as well as Travel Medford, thank you for being great partners in the work. I know for the Chamber and Travel Medford, we're engaged with a lot of things right now. I think about our citywide wayfinding sign committee that we get to serve on. Think of the vision task force that Brian shared about, and then really a victory that we continue to talk about around here is the new Road Credit Union Community Complex, and that victory that we've had. And I know we're going to be moving dirt here real soon, so it's been a celebration for us. It's going to be a huge asset for our community, something that staff as well as the Southern Oregon Sports Commission and a lot of members are thrilled about. So again, thank you to the City of Medford for your continued partnership in that. I wanted just to note, this is my first chamber forum as the new president and CEO of the chamber, and I just want to say that I'm very much looking forward to serving in this new role, just ensuring that our chamber as well as our community is thriving. Really been hitting the ground running. Brian Sjothun mentioned with KJ not being able to be away. I think too, I just want to take a moment. I got a feeling that my predecessor, Brad Hicks, is probably not on a beach drinking a Mai Tai like he should be. I have a feeling he's tuning in. If he is, again, Brad, congratulations. Thank you for your close to 30 years of service in this community. We wish you the best in retirement. I want to note there's a lot of good things coming up on the horizon here with the chamber. A few announcements I wanted to make mention to. First, we have the chamber leadership class. We are going to be starting back up again. The program starts in September and concludes in May. The participants meet every third Tuesday of the month for 1 day in the month. A full day's curriculum of all kinds of activities and topics, and each month's a different topic. So 1 month is travel and tourism. The next month is police and fire and so forth, but very behind the scenes look of our community, hands-on demonstrations, interactive activities, and lectures and briefings. If you have anybody in your business that you want to send or know more information about the chamber leadership class, it's been going on since 1983. Go ahead and check on our website, medfordchamber.com. As well, coming up in September, we have our Excellence in Business Awards Dinner. This is a time to honor those who have contributed greatly to our business community. Go ahead and mark your calendars. It's coming up September 9th. We are planning to meet, thankfully, in person at the Rogue Valley Country Club. Nominations for the awards are open as well on the website. They're going to be closed July 23rd, so make sure you take some time and please take a moment and nominate a deserving person or a business through the website. Last announcement, the chamber travel. A lot of you know the last decade, the chamber's helped lead some trips all the way to China. We've done numerous trips to our sister city in Alba, Italy. Now we're going to be exploring Egypt. Coming up here, come explore magical Egypt with the chamber. 9 nights. We're starting to take signups. We're going to be going to the Great Pyramids, the Sphinx, cruising on the Nile. We'll also be visiting the legendary Valley of the Kings. This cost, it's almost all inclusive, is about $2,900 per person. We're going to be leaving March 8th, 2022. Again, March 8th, 2022. There's a lot of information on our website, medfordchamber.com, so check out the program. In closing, I just want to reiterate one more time just the deep appreciation for all of you showing up this last year through our virtual programs. You know, it's been a very challenging year, but I do believe that we are through the worst of it. So we are planning, as Councilman D'Alessandro said, the new forum season, which starts in October. We are planning to meet in person once again, starting in October at the Rogue Valley Country Club. So I know we're all looking forward to the networking and coming together and convening once again. So to all of our viewers, all of our sponsors, the City of Medford, and especially our title sponsor, the Cow Creek Tribe, a big thank you for this past year. And with that, we look forward to bringing and ushering in the new forum season in person. And with that, I hope you all have a great day, and thanks for tuning in.